Good day, everybody. Thank you for joining us. So we're here on jurisq.com. We're a legal network, and we decided to bring in an immigration attorney, who is our participating attorney, Marina Shepelsky, to do a seminar for all the refugees. Fortunately, there's a lot of refugees now, millions, that are in countries around Ukraine, escaping Ukraine. There are refugees already here in America that want to stay. And also, of course, there's some Russian folks from Russia that want to also leave. So we're going to discuss what are the different options. And Marina, we decided to do it in English for a few reasons. Number one, I don't speak Ukrainian. I speak Russian. I know some refugees are uncomfortable right now with Russian. So we're going to switch to English so that everybody's comfortable. That's one. Second of all, for those of you who have friends and relatives in Ukraine and you don't speak Russian, Ukrainian so well, this is going to be for you as well. So you can give the information to your friends and relatives in Ukraine, Russia, wherever they may be. Okay. So Marina, thank you again for making the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for watching. Since this war of Russia on Ukraine started on February 24th, I have personally been devastated by these events. I am from Ukraine. I was born in Kiev, the capital. My beautiful city is in ruins, but we will rebuild. Nevertheless, I just, right away, I thought, what can I do? I'm an attorney. I'm not, anybody who has any military experience or political experience. What can I do to help? And I said from the very beginning, I can just do my work. And I recommend that wherever you are and whoever you are, and that's actually, I've been listening to some, psychologists talk about how to deal with the stress of all this for Ukrainian and Russian people. I'm including Russian people because I personally do not make this into a Russophobia, Russian-phobia thing. I think I feel bad for Russian people, just like for Ukrainian people, but in a different way, of course. And I think that the only thing we can all do right now is to continue our work, whatever you're doing. And for people like myself, I feel like sharing information with you guys, explaining how these processes work is my best contribution right now.
Exactly. And I really appreciate it. And we had many... I had many professionals who also want to contribute with their goods, services. We had doctors that want to supply refugees with the medical necessities, attorneys like yourself. We had business people that have some means trying to donate money. So we really appreciate it. So everybody is doing their part. I have a voice, so which I'm trying to bring my voice and bring awareness to this issue and see how we can connect people that need help with people that can offer help like yourself. So let's start, okay? There are people in need that want to get out from the war zone, from these displaced refugee places. So let's start. So first of all, we know that right now Poland is overwhelmed and saturated with the refugees. The embassy, American embassy there, you tell me, has huge lines to get an appointment. What other countries in Europe, neighboring Ukraine, can you recommend that people can go to schedule an appointment with American Embassy, or what else can they do?
First of all, I'd like to thank Poland above all else for their incredible, incredible selfless help with this process. They began taking refugees from day one. They opened their doors in every way. And the US Embassy in Poland actually got the Ukrainian consular officers before the war. End of January, our administration, like around January 23rd, took all the Ukrainian American consular officers out and transferred them to Poland. So Poland has started from day one very actively helping the refugees, and the US Embassy in Poland has been incredible with that. They posted in 2 languages, English and Russian, a very specific procedure, separate from everyone else, for Ukrainian refugees. It's called Immediate Assistance for Humanitarian Refugees from Ukraine. So Poland was a great option right in the beginning, and many people already went to interviews in Poland. Some got their visa, some didn't. Right now, Poland is overwhelmed. Of course, everybody knows right now it's about 3 million refugees left Ukraine to all the countries in Europe. Poland took the biggest, hit, meaning they got the most people.
Because they're right there.
Border country, and a lot of people went there. And they're a NATO country. At this point, if you have a choice, and I've been telling my clients that, look, just think about it. These are refugees. They barely made themselves, let's say, to Poland. They might not have the money, the resources, or the energy to go to another country right away. But if you do have a chance, Germany is, to me, number one choice. And in fact, my kid's former nanny just left Ukraine last night. She's Ukrainian. And she's been with us for many years, and then she went back to Ukraine. And she said, we're leaving. We're on the train to Lviv. Lviv is in the western part of Ukraine. It's much safer. From there, we're planning to go. Marina, what do you recommend? So I'm telling you what I'm recommending my own family. Germany right now is the best option. They've always had very good refugee programs for years. And right now they also have the Frankfurt, Germany embassy is getting transferred all existing immigrant cases, meaning people who are in line for green cards. So Ukrainian cases are already getting transferred to Frankfurt. Right now, to me, Germany is number one. Of course, Hungary is good. Slovenia is good. Slovakia, they've been also extremely welcoming of refugees. As a matter of fact, I have some friends in Mexico, and they're saying people in Mexico are raising funds at every corner, at every school, at every business. They all have those QR codes, fundraising for Ukraine.
That's amazing.
And so to me,
the whole world is coming together. It's very, very, very
so
impressive.
if you have your loved ones are in Europe right now, I recommend to go to Germany. Also, Italy is very welcoming right now. Spain has been great. Of course, Romania, Slovenia, Slovakia. I would not recommend to end up in Moldova. I will explain why. First of all, I don't think they're taking any consular cases, and I think they're afraid they're next for Russia to attack. So you can go there just to kind of escape, but you have to keep moving.
Temporarily.
Okay,
that's a good advice. Good advice. Okay, thank you. And so what are the programs out there? What can people do to get to USA?
Okay, so people that want to come here are in several categories, and I'm not saying that this is right or wrong. I make no judgment on this. I'm just telling you this is how it is right now. So first of all, to start with, there is no refugee program to come to the United States. People ask me day and night, especially people who are in Ukraine or traveling from Ukraine. In fact, my nanny, again, she's a good example. She asked me if she can get to some country where there's evacuation planes to the United States. No such thing. There's no refugee program to come to the United States, and there's no evacuation planes, and there's nothing to come as a refugee right now, right? So if you're in Europe, you have to apply for a visa. A tourist visa is your only option.
There's no refugee. There's no refugee visa.
There is no refugee.
And it's a good thing you cleared that up, because a lot of people, of course, would think there's a refugee
Every
visa.
first person is asking me.
Of course.
Every first person.
I also thought there would be a refugee visa.
Of course, because a lot of us, English-speaking, English-speaking immigrants who've been here, like myself, for 33, 35 years, we came as refugees.
Yeah, exactly.
So people assume that
it's a good thing you cleared that up.
Now, just a little history lesson. We came through an amendment to a Trade Act from 1974 called the Jackson-Vanik Amendment. They were putting pressure to let Jews leave through our Congress, the American U.S. Congress. And the American Jews put a lot of pressure on our Congress to let the Jews out through trade, through sanctions. So just like right now, there were tremendous sanctions on Soviet Union at that time if they weren't going to let the Jews out. And they said, okay, we'll let them out. This is how all the Jews, and I'm Jewish, but I also consider myself Ukrainian. This is how we made ourselves out of
Okay, so
Ukraine,
maybe
Russia.
it would be nice if Congress passes an act to also give Ukrainians a special status and give them a refugee status. Yeah.
It would be nice,
I think they deserve it.
Especially because they did it like this for Afghanistan. So very recently, now, of course, I just told you about our wave of immigration, right? Yours and mine.
Right.
This was 70s and 80s and early 90s.
Okay.
Currently, we just had Afghanistan refugees. They had a special program.
Okay.
Why not Ukraine?
Exactly.
You know?
Absolutely. They right now.
So that hasn't happened.
Actually, their lives are in danger. Under bombs. I feel like they should be given a special status. But what is this TPS? Isn't that some kind of special status, temporary protected status that they can apply for?
So yeah, so TPS is something new. On March 3rd, our Department of Homeland Security announced. Do you hear me?
Of course, yeah.
Sorry about that.
We're good. Absolutely.
On March 3rd, on March 3rd, Department of Homeland Security announced they will have a temporary protection status. It's like a temporary asylum for Ukrainian refugees, but you had to have been here already in the United States as of March 1st. That covers very few people. Very few people made it. Yeah.
Make it clear, TPS is only for Ukrainians that are here in America right now.
Correct. And
it does not apply to any refugees that are outside America.
Does not apply to anybody who came after March 1st or is outside, right? So it does apply to somebody who's been here for a long time from Ukraine. It does apply to recent refugees who came before March 1st or even on March 1st. But anybody that came in after, we recommend they just file for regular asylum, not TPS. You can actually do both if you qualify for TPS, but TPS was announced, but has not started. There's no forms. Ukraine wasn't officially added yet to the list of the countries. And
so it's still just a theory. No, it's not in practice, only a theory.
Yeah.
It sounds good, but it doesn't work right now.
Of course, there's 12 countries that are on the list: El Salvador, Nicaragua, Sudan, Venezuela, Syria. Ukraine should be added. It's not officially even on the list yet. It was announced, but it's not been enacted, and they haven't explained. Are they going to treat Ukraine, let's say, differently somehow? Usually it's for 18 months. So it's temporary status for 18 months. All the other countries, including like Haiti, for example, Haiti got added because of the earthquake they had. All those other countries have been renewed over and over again. 18 more months, 18 more months, 18 more months. Trump tried to stop it, but now it's back. But Ukraine is not yet officially started. Okay, so it's there. We are collecting, paperwork from clients and preparing everything, but we're not ready to send it out yet because it hasn't started officially.
By the way, I want to tell anybody that has any questions, they can either post it in comments below this post, or they can send a message to me or Marina, and if we have time, we'll answer your questions about how to get refugee status, how to come to America if you're from Ukraine or even Russia.
Michael, I'm going to interrupt you. I got a text message on my Facebook Messenger from Ina Vernikov, who is now a member. You know better. Tell us who Ina is. You know better than me. What is her current
Ina
title?
is our recent councilwoman for, I believe, 48th district, which covers these Russian-speaking areas here in Brooklyn. It covers Brighton Beach, Manhattan Beach, Sheepshead Bay, and I believe Midwood.
Right. So my office is right next door to Ina's. Actually, it so happened. So she's texting me to call her after this because she's working with the mayor's office to designate Ukrainians as refugees locally here in New York State.
Good.
So
Perfect.
listen, New York State has announced.
So you're saying that we can become like a sanctuary city for Ukrainian refugees?
Absolutely, absolutely. In New York State, it's interesting. I know how politics work. I'm not in politics, so I get very frustrated. So just give me a little, a little leeway there. I'm very much a goals-oriented person. I want to get the results now, right? Politics are very difficult. You want something done, it takes a long time. Everybody has to have agreed, and then you have to change things. It's always difficult. It's like this, like heavy machine that just trudges along, right? So the federal government said openly, we are opening our doors to Ukrainian refugees.
Okay.
What does that mean in regular people's language?
Right now it's just words.
Right, they did this TPS, so I can't say what. So I mean, I know, we're going to talk in a minute about other categories of people, how they can get into the United States and how to get the tourist visa, right? But they are open to refugees with a TPS that hasn't started yet, and they are helping expedite certain kinds of cases, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So I'm not going to say, they're doing nothing. However, there is no refugee program for anybody outside of the United States to get any immigration status. Here, you have to file for asylum. For asylum, you also have to prove that you are politically against the majority in your country, that you are religion, that that
you're being persecuted.
Right. I'm not sure, because these are all very new cases. I'm not sure how it's going to play out when we go in front of immigration judges who have to follow the old law. And under the old law, just because your country is in a bad position, it's not equal, doesn't equal asylum. So we'll see how that works. But anyway, I'll be in touch with Ina, of course, how we can help locally.
Marina, I also got a message from somebody that has a family petition in place. I'm not even sure what that means. You can explain to us. And they want to know being expedited because of the crisis in Ukraine. So can you please explain what is a family petition and what is being expedited?
Okay, so there's another category of people that have, they're refugees from Ukraine. Let's say they're in Romania or in Germany, but they already had their family file to unify with them. Okay. Let's say elderly people who have children here who are citizens or green card holders, right? Green card holders cannot file for parents, but US citizens can. Okay. Green card holders can file for spouses or children. Anyway, there's so many categories of people who filed petitions, and we were waiting for certain, different stages of the process. Some people were waiting for National Visa Center. Some people passed the National Visa Center, were already waiting for an interview for their immigrant visa. Immigrant means you're coming to stay here. You're not leaving, right? So this is for people who had immediate family in the United States and had filed petitions to bring them here with a green card, family petition. The form is called I-130, alien relative or family petition. So at different stages, we are helping people expedite those processes, and that works. I'm telling you right now, for most people, if you have an existing immediate relative case, and by the way, that's a technical term, immediate relative is parents of US citizens, spouses, and children of US citizens. Right, if you are a parent of a green card holder, that is not considered immediate family. Really? If you are a sibling, our Congress decided that is not considered immediate family. All these other categories have lines, 15 years to have a visa available to them. There's quotas. There's only so many per year that you can get. So anybody that's in those long lines, they're not expediting. They're not helping expedite. And there's nothing we can do right now. But immediate family situations, they are absolutely expediting.
And for how much can you expedite? How fast can you do it?
That's also a common question. USCIS is telling us up to 45 days. National Visa Center about the same. Not too bad. So listen, instead of months, not years, but months.
It's not too bad.
It's not too bad.
Okay,
but
so just to make it clear, somebody has immediate family in America, it is much easier to get a visa under a family petition category. But immediate family
Or-
mean, yeah.
Or even the non-immigrant visa, even the people I mentioned who have to file for tourist visa, people with immediate family are being expedited and put in front of the line, because what I do is I advise people, okay, you're filing for a tourist visa, but have your daughter or your son or your brother send a financial sponsorship package for you, and say they will make sure you only stay for a short period of time, and that they will pay for you. Those people are getting approved for a visitor visa. So this is how the US government is helping,
Understood.
they are helping. Those people with family here, they are being put in front of everyone else, and they are getting approved, not everyone, but most of them, for different visas.
Got it.
So that's the message I want to bring across. If you have somebody in Ukraine,
very important.
now is the time to act. Help them by becoming a financial sponsor for them, making that phone call, emailing to Expedite. They are responding.
And tell us again, what is immediate family under US law?
Immediate family is US citizens filing for parents, husband or wife, children under 21. And right now, also green card holders filing for husband or wife or children under 21. And fiancés of US citizens. By the way, we have some clients who had fiancés in Ukraine. They're engaged, they filed the K-1 visa, the 90-day fiancé, everybody knows about that. That's also being expedited.
And can you still get if you got engaged recently or going to get engaged, can you get a visa under that?
Yes, you can.
Very good. Okay.
So in that case, if you haven't filed anything, what we're doing is we're filing it, and online filing right now is absolutely the quickest. We file forms online if we can. As soon as we have a receipt number, we make the request to expedite.
Got it. Okay. Thank you, Marina. Now, I've heard such a concept as a humanitarian parole. What is that, and does that apply to Ukrainian or Russian refugees?
Okay, so if your relatives are not able to get the visa, maybe they applied and got denied. Maybe they just, you're just skipping that and you decide to bring them here in a different way for family. So you have to have US citizen, family, or even close friends who are filing to unite with someone in, let's say, Poland, who's a Ukrainian refugee. And it's substitutes for a visa. It's like a visa. It's a parole. Parole is, again, a technical term in immigration law that means coming with admission officially. You're coming in officially, and for many other visa types.
What's the difference?
Because if you just, let's say, came through, if you came, let's say, with a non-tourist visa and it expires, then you're out of status. With parole, it's different.
So it's better to come under parole.
No visa, that's also different.
So it's like having a visa. You're a humanitarian.
Right.
It's much better.
It is much better, but it's much longer.
I want to be a humanitarian.
You are, because we're doing the show. We're already doing something humanitarian. True. But to parole for humanitarian reasons means that the government looks at the situation. I don't think just a regular refugee family is going to work for this, frankly. It has to be maybe like medical problems. By the way, if there's somebody with a disability from Ukraine, and
I actually had that question. Somebody asked me a question recently for this show. What if a refugee has a disability or medical problem? Does that somehow expedite things or make things better?
So people who have a documented medical problem, it has to be documented, or a disability, can either get the expedited visa, but again, I think they're only going to approve if you have family here, or humanitarian parole. Humanitarian parole is you're showing you're going to be financially responsible for them. You see, there's like underlying trends here. You see the trends? Financial responsibility to come to the United States is number one.
Right.
They don't want people coming in who are just going to be the burden to taxpayers.
Right.
And number two, there's a humanitarian situation. They're refugee in Ukraine and they're elderly with arthritis or whatever, you know, Alzheimer's. So they're young. There's a young child. Somebody was writing to me, a young child who is, you know, in a wheelchair with a disability. You know, people like that are going to get in front of the line for both humanitarian parole and visa. You can ask to expedite both the visa and humanitarian parole, because humanitarian parole takes at least 120 days. That's months.
It sounds like
that's
it's much harder to receive.
Yeah.
It's better, but harder. Marina, you know, we've been talking about Ukrainian refugees mostly, and we understand they're the ones that are in immediate need because they're actually living in a war zone or they are without a home in neighboring countries. So we want to help them first. But let's not forget, there are also people from Russia that are also trying to leave. They could be in danger because of their political views. They were protesting, demonstrating. And of course, the quality of life there became much worse recently with the sanctions. Is there anything a refugee from Russia can hope for?
First of all, my position is I'm not against Russian people. I'm against one specific person, Vladimir Putin, who is a dictator and a Hitler in our times. The Russian people are not a problem, okay? They're suffering right now. Many of them have Ukrainian family and friends and relatives, because historically our people were brothers. We're brother nations. We look the same. You can't even tell the difference really between a Ukrainian person and a Russian person. If you look at us, we look the same. For years, since I came here, nobody even knew where Ukraine was on the map, and I used to be called Russian. Oh, Marina Shepelsky. In my law school, they were like, oh, the Russian. There were very few Russian-speaking people in my law school. I went to Fordham, so they just said the Russian. I didn't say, can you please call me Ukrainian? Now I would, but back in the day, it didn't matter, right? So my position is I feel for Russian people just like I feel for Ukrainian people, but Ukrainian people are actually dying and refugees, Russians for different reasons. 250,000 Russian-speaking middle-class people left Russia, I think, like the week after the war. People are running from Russia.
If they had the means, not everybody had the means.
Not at middle class. That's what I'm saying, middle class.
That they wanted to leave and they couldn't because they couldn't withdraw their money from ATM machines in Russia.
Forget about money.
Also, transportation
Forget
is a
about
problem.
money.
Airplanes is a problem.
Let me tell you, because I watch Russian media, 65% of Russian people do not have travel passports. They don't have passports. They can't leave because they don't have a passport to leave.
Yeah.
So they can't afford it, and they never even fathomed or imagined traveling. So of the rest of the country, of course, only the middle class people were able to leave because then they had to have visas to other countries, like the Schengen to leave to Europe, a US visa to come here. They are letting Russian people come. It's not like we as a country are not like telling Russian people to turn around and go back. They went to Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Turkey. Some people went to like the islands, like Grenada and all these other places.
Where they don't require a passport, I guess. With Russians, they have their interior passport and they have their exterior passport to travel.
Right.
And not everybody has that exterior passport. To travel.
Lots of Russian-speaking people went to the Arab Emirates, Quran.
Yes, that's very welcome right
countries,
now.
UAE, and they're mostly waiting it out. A lot of them are just waiting
But
it out.
if they want to come to America, is there any kind of mechanism to help them arrive to America under some kind of refugee status?
As far as getting
a humanitarian, why can't you have a Russian humanitarian?
You can, but it has to be a real humanitarian situation, like somebody dying without medication or something like that, which is happening now because a lot of foreign pharmaceutical companies said they will stop for now or freeze all medications exports into Russia. So we are seeing a lot of Russian people.
That doesn't sit well with me, but that's a separate issue. Okay.
Of course, and they gave up on all these hospices with dying children. That's terrible. Why are you firing? You know, I love Netrebko. She's an opera singer. She has a place in the United States. She lived here with her autistic son for years, and she you know, we see her in the community around Manhattan.
Right.
You know, she's a, you know, she was like a resident of America. You know, of New York City, especially. Why she had to declare Putin a dictator so that she could be killed somewhere and risk her life, I don't understand.
Yeah.
And this cancel culture is terrible.
This is really not right. It's a knee-jerk reaction from American politicians, from people who are taking out their anger at President Putin on people that are of Russian descent, that is just who have nothing to do with this conflict, who are not decision makers, and they are in peril. They speak out, or their family could be in peril. So this is
I have a friend
not right, but that's a whole separate discussion.
I know, but I have a friend whose brother lives in Russia, and his children, they're adults already. They go to these demonstrations all the time, supporting ending the war in Ukraine. They're risking their lives. His girlfriend got arrested and put in jail. A lot of things are happening where Russian people are supporting the end of this war. They're against this war. They're protesting this war. But it's really hard because you're risking 15 years in jail. And I understand the international
and they're being punished
pressure.
more.
I get that.
Because they took away their McDonald's.
Well, yeah, there's one guy who chained himself to McDonald's.
I'm saying they're protesting, they're putting their lives in danger, and then they're hit more with sanctions.
But that's what I'm saying.
There is the irony here that where an ordinary Russian citizen has no power, I believe, to change the mindset of Kremlin, and they're being punished.
Right. And you have to understand the 65% who didn't even have a passport, right? They're the ones supporting Putin because they weren't going to travel. They didn't have any luxury goods. They didn't have a great life to start with. They had a very bad life because they didn't even have a pass. They couldn't even afford, and they just, you know, didn't need a passport to go anywhere. Right. So those are the people that are always happy with whoever the czar is, whoever their king is. Right now it's Putin. Before it was Stalin. By the way, Stalin is very popular in Russia today.
Yeah, you know? His legacy was revived. I mean, we gotta give him credit. I always like to analyze the good and the bad. Obviously, he had horrible sides to him, killed a lot of people, but also he did lead Soviet Union in victory over Nazis. So let's not also forget that. Okay, but we have strayed from our original topic, which is
I'm sorry. Russian people,
Ukrainian,
what can they get?
Refugees.
I got it. What can Russian people get? First of all, we have a couple of new clients now for national interest green cards. For people who are really brilliant minds in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, and anything that has to do with COVID relief right now will be very much considered and approved for a green card through jobs, right? But it has to be very high level education, very specific, you know, scientific type of
sounds
background.
Like that visa is not going to be easy to get, but it's possible.
It's not, but it's possible. I am holding off on any L1 visas. L1 is like when transferring managers. That's not going to work right now. Don't waste your money for politics, because of politics. What's working is Asylum. So if you're here from Russia and you're against this war, go take some you know, and if you mean it, you're really against the war, then you go and you participate in protests, take some pictures with Ukrainian flags, write about your opinion. For you to file for political asylum, you need to express your political view. If you are afraid, then maybe don't publish on social media, but do take pictures, do go to these protests.
Document.
Do contribute, do sign up and send money to, you know, Ukraine. Do something that I can document and show to an immigration judge.
I see.
I cannot do it for you. And if you don't do it for yourself, then you're out of luck. Okay. If you are from Russia and you want to win asylum, we can help you, but you need to help yourself. You need to show you're against these policies, and you will not go back, and you will not stand for it. Okay. So it's pretty simple. We can help you with asylum, but you need to prove your political opinion, and I need to document it for the court.
Marina, we have some questions. Let me just see. Okay. So we have a series of questions. I think we have answered.
Maybe we can do a separate show in Russian too, because maybe we can do a separate show later in Russian as well.
Maybe we can have somebody translate in Ukrainian.
Yeah, I mean, not every single Ukrainian person speaks Russian, but most do.
I think most do. So we have questions I've seen. I think we answered about immediate family. Can you file for cousin, nephew? You cannot.
You cannot.
Family.
No.
Let's see.
Now you can file.
Cousin who's pregnant and needs medical care, and she wants to come to USA. Cousin
file for a U.S. tourist visa with the financial sponsorship and approve the humanitarian conditions. She should get the visa.
Got it. Okay, thank you. See, that's very practical advice. Okay, yeah. If anybody else has other questions, and we run out of time, which we're actually going to end soon, you can still post your questions, and we'll do another seminar, or maybe Marina will answer on her own, or you can also send a private message to Marina on her Facebook profile with any questions you have. Let's hit our final question for the day. There have been reports that people from Ukraine, Russia are trying to reach Mexico and surrender themselves at the U.S. border. Is this something you heard of, you see, and is this a good practical idea to follow?
Okay. Let's talk about Mexico. I have been also getting a lot of questions about Mexico. As an officer of the court, and I take this very seriously, this is my livelihood. I have 3 kids. Right. I support them by being an officer of the court. I cannot recommend for people to trek into Mexico and ask for asylum because it's very dangerous.
Okay.
Now, people are still doing
dangerous
it. Dangerous
legally or to their, you think, to their physical well-being?
Both.
Okay.
Legally, if you're there, I recommend you bring any paperwork of the humanitarian position. The sponsorship package, if you have any friends or family that I already mentioned, you need to show your refugee that you had a humanitarian.
You gotta come prepared.
You have to be prepared, and they're still turning people away. I've been hearing of women with kids getting turned away, and then what's going to happen to you? You are in the middle of a Mexican desert where the gangs are, the coyotes,
that's a good point,
the cartels.
Yeah.
I cannot, as an officer of the court, offer that as a viable
sounds
option.
like a very dangerous way to go about it.
Right, but if you are there, because somebody was telling me last night off the record that there's like Facebook groups and Telegram, which is an app, Telegram channels and YouTube groups where people share this type of information, and people are offering for money to bring somebody safely to the border and help them ask for asylum.
Yeah, but they could be victims of human trafficking, like you said. So that's very dicey.
I know somebody personally who came through Mexico when he was a teenager, and he almost died. He had to swim through the channel, and some people drowned, and he saw them drowning, and it took him months to get here from a European country, not from a Russian-speaking country. I cannot offer this as a viable option. If you are on your own with that. If you're already here and you're calling me from the detention center, we can help, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be a lot of work. We have to get a bond. We have to get your relative sponsorship together. And even to speak to a client like that, which I have to interview them for their asylum case, it takes days. It takes, hundreds of phone calls.
It's heavy lifting.
It's going to be an expensive case, and we do them, but just be prepared. It's going to be a very complicated journey. And at the end, if you get in and you file for asylum and time passes, it takes years. And sometimes people meet somebody who's a US citizen and they want to get married. That's not going to work for you, because crossing the border is not a parole. It's not a visa. It's considered you came without anything. So that doesn't allow you anything but asylum, only asylum.
You know, which brings me to my follow-up question. That somebody who's, let's say, Ukrainian, and right now they are in a detention center, they're under deportation proceeding. No, from before. Being a Ukrainian now, can you somehow postpone or stop this deportation? And where can they get deported? Into a war zone? America is going to deport somebody to drop them on the bombs? How does that work?
I don't think they're not deporting right now. They're not deporting to
Yeah,
Ukraine.
that makes sense. Yeah, I wouldn't think they would. Yeah. Okay.
No, they're not deporting.
Good. Okay, Marina, this was amazing. Thank you so much. You've answered a lot of questions that I had, that people had. You're doing good work. We appreciate it. And I don't think it's a bad idea to do one more of these, maybe next week in Russian, also on social media that people can spread. We're gonna post this shortly, this recording in my Facebook group, The Russian Insider, on Juris Q Facebook page, Michael Levitis profile and page, Marina Shepelsky Facebook page and profile, so you can get the benefit of this information. And please share it among your friends, relatives in Ukraine or Poland, wherever they may be. If we can help people with information, because that's very important, to get the right information from the person who is knowledgeable and experienced, person like immigration attorney Marina Shepelsky. Thank you very much, and until next time, have a good day.
Thank you, everyone. Good luck. Stay safe. Bye.
Bye-bye.